Hey listeners, our show is now available on Google Play Music. Download the Google Play Music app on your smartphone or go to play.google.com/music and search for us, the 1P versus 2P podcast. Check it out. Nintendo reveals their upcoming plans for the NX and Zelda. Gearbox releases the MOBA-like Battleborn, and the next Call of Duty comes bundled with a modern classic. All that plus more today, Wednesday, May 4th, 2016. You're listening to the 1P versus 2P podcast. I'm Ryan Ray. With me, as always, is... Wait, he's not here. That's right, this is a solo cast. Taylor, unfortunately, could not be with me on this week's show, so instead, you're going to get just me, Ryan. Let's begin with the top gaming news from this past week in video games. Let's talk about Nintendo. They released a bunch of news last week in a financial call. They officially announced the Nintendo NX, which is just the console's nickname for now, and they said that they will be out March 2017. Nintendo President Tatsumi Kimishima said, quote, "At this current stage, I'm not able to say anything else about the console. The NX is not merely the successor to the handheld 3DS or stationary console Wii U. This will be hardware that's been made with a new way of thinking." Interesting quote from President Kimishima there. Nintendo also said that they won't be showing the NX at E3, but instead will be showing the new Legend of Zelda game, which was also announced release date with the launch of the console in March 2017. And the game is coming both to the Wii U and NX, much like Twilight Princess was on the GameCube and the Wii. Yeah, it seems like last year Nintendo was really firing on all cylinders. They showed off and announced the new Star Fox game, new Fire Emblem, a bunch of other titles that were in development. And right now it seems like the release window, if you're looking for new games on the Wii U and 3DS, seems to be dwindling. There's going to be that new Paper Mario game and that new Fire Emblem Tokyo Mirage session, whatever that is, basically the mishmash between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem that's coming later this month. Yeah, there seems like there's going to be a dry spell for the Wii U coming up here shortly. We don't know what they're going to do. They've said they're going to continue supporting the console past its life cycle, but also with this news, they said that they are bringing their franchises Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem to mobile devices, both for iOS and Android. And they've said that both of these games will be more of a game applications compared to Miitomo, which of course is the free-to-play mobile app that Nintendo recently released. And I'm curious to see what they'll be doing with both Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem. Animal Crossing, of course, seems very ripe to have a mobile tie-in game. Fire Emblem is kind of the one I'm personally more curious about. How are you going to do a very deep relationship-based game on mobile? Certainly it's possible, but that game is going to be huge. And, will it have free-to-play transactions? Potentially are you going to be able to revive dead characters, which, of course, Fire Emblem is known for its very difficult gameplay and permadeath. Are you going to be able to, buy back revives? Yeah, who knows what they're going to do, but they've said both of those apps are going to be coming later this year. On top of all this news, as part of their financial disclosure, Nintendo revealed to shareholders that their profits have dropped about 61% owing to slowing Wii U and 3DS sales. For both, respectively, the Nintendo 3DS hardware sold about 6.8 million units, has sold about 48.5 million copies of games, with the Wii U securing about 3.2 million units and about 27.3 million games sold. But people seem to be buying amiibos. 53 million combined amiibos, both cards and figures, have been purchased so far. They're pointing out that Animal Crossing, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon sold well, but Nintendo acknowledged that a lack of, quote, major titles means last year was mostly being driven by the 3DS, which I have to agree with. Splatoon and Super Mario Maker both did really well for the Wii U, but I can't really think of big Wii U games last year that did super well for Nintendo. It seems like the Wii U is kind of on its last laps. We've talked a bit about this on the show before, and I really enjoy my Wii U. a console that I really am excited to play, but frankly, I think if you're a newcomer to Nintendo or you're a big Nintendo fan, you haven't had much reason to buy the console. Is Nintendo going to go the way of Sega and possibly just be a software developer and push their games onto PCs or other consoles? Who knows? Who knows if the NX is going to be their last console ever? If they continue to go the same way with the NX that they did with the Wii U, I think Nintendo's console future is not looking so hot. It's hard not to be disappointed as a longtime Nintendo fan that they haven't really been behind the Wii U that they have with other consoles. I mean, even the Wii and the GameCube, frankly, are selling better than the Wii U has so far. Yeah, it's really hard to say how much longer Nintendo will continue be supporting their really flagging home console. All right, let's move on to the one new game release we have this week.
I love new releases.
Battleborn. That's coming out for PC, Xbox One, and PS4 this week. This is the MOBA-like Team Fortress 2 style competitive multiplayer from Gearbox, the creators of Borderlands. This game seems to be similarly styled to the popular loot shooter. It has that kind of cartoony tinge to it. But the early word on the street is that it has some of the same meme/Family Guy level humor Borderlands is known for, which, depending on your perspective, is either a good or a bad thing. Kind of going after that MOBA market, it also features 25 characters. Reviews haven't hit quite yet for this game, but I am shocked that this game hasn't done much more to differentiate itself from another MOBA-like Team Fortress 2 style game, Overwatch. I had to think for a minute there because these games have similar titles, have similar premises. I don't know if this is a coincidence, but it seems like there's more excitement around Overwatch than there is for Battleborn. So we'll have to see how Battleborn's multiplayer community does. We thought that a bad trend last year was multiplayer games that didn't have long shelf lives. And if the multiplayer community doesn't get behind Battleborn in favor of Overwatch, this game is just going to die on the vine. All right, let's talk about some new games that were announced this past week.
Here comes a new challenger!
Call of Duty. Of course, there's going to be another Call of Duty game. Activision has announced a new title, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. This game is going to take players to space, allowing them to pilot a spacecraft. And more interestingly than a new Call of Duty game is that Activision has announced, of course, special editions of the game that are going to come with an HD remaster of the classic Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The remaster, of course, is going to include the single-player campaign and only 10 of the multiplayer maps, all of which been remastered in HD. They've said so far that they aren't going to be selling the Modern Warfare remaster separately. You're going to have to buy the special edition of the game, which is going to cost you $80 or $110 if you buy the Legacy Pro edition. And I'm really interested to see what a cleaned up Modern Warfare is going to look like. Call of Duty 4 was a really good title from this past generation, arguably one of the better games this past generation, competing probably only with Modern Warfare 2. I think a lot of people kind of fell off the bandwagon after Modern Warfare 3. So it'll be interesting to see if people come back for this. Infinite Warfare, along with Modern Warfare Remastered, is going to be coming out November 4th, 2016, this year on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So we'll have to see if this will be the Call of Duty to bring back people who haven't been as excited about Call of Duty in the past few years. Another new announcement this past week was a Final Fantasy XI reboot for mobile. There was a presentation coming out of Korea. Basically, there's going to be an iOS and Android version of the very popular in its day MMO Final Fantasy XI. We don't know many details about this. They just showed some screenshots with a little bit of UI, but the game does run on Unreal Engine 4 and is in development for both mobile platforms. And the game is slated to be released later this year in all territories. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. I've never really checked Final Fantasy XI back in the day myself, but this was a really popular game back in its day, owing its success to a lot of people who were moving on from EverQuest. and eventually paving the way for the popularity of Final Fantasy XIV. So I'm eventually excited to check it out. I really like MMOs, and I really like Final Fantasy II. This seems like it's prime time for a reboot of this game. All right, let's go to the bonus stage. Nintendo is selling their majority stake in the baseball team, the Seattle Mariners. If you remember, back in 1992, Nintendo's then president Hiroshi Yamauchi went out and bought 55% of the baseball team. Residents have said that they are grateful to Nintendo for making the purchase, with one critic even going so far as to saying that Nintendo's money helped keep the baseball team in Seattle. You can probably say that Nintendo helped give the Seattle Mariners a one-up. Sega is moving forward with a movie adaptation of one of its video game franchises, Shinobi. Shinobi, if you recall, is a 1987 arcade classic, followed by a number of console and handheld sequels, including Revenge of Shinobi for Sega Genesis and Shinobi for PS2. This is all part of a plan by Sega to bring other franchises to film, including Altered Beast, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, and Virtua Fighter. Man, where are the other Sega franchises I'm looking for in movies? I want to see Comic Zone, Vector Man. Come on, let's bring those to films. Epic Games co-founder Tim Sweeney recently revealed to Polygon that Gears of War 4 would have cost more than $100 million to make had they stayed on their original development plan. He said that the high cost of developing Gears sequels ultimately caused Gears of War to be sold to Microsoft and forced the free-to-play model on the company, which explains why their upcoming games, Paragon, a free-to-play MOBA, and Fortnite, a free-to-play indie survival game, are both going to have free-to-play elements. Can you imagine what Gears would have been like had they not spent so much money on developing Gears of War 4? Man, imagine the possibilities. Alright, that's it for this week's solo cast. If you liked our show, please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes and Stitcher. It really helps us out when you let us know what you think. You can also listen to us on Google Play Music, TuneIn, Clamor, or on our website, which is 1pvs2p.com, or you can search for us on your favorite podcast app. All of our sources for this week's episode have been posted at the link in the show notes. Or you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at 1pvs2p_podcast. Check us out on YouTube and Twitch, twitch.tv/1pvs2p_podcast, for gameplay videos, let's plays, and more. I promise it's not just me dying a bunch in Dark Souls 3. As always, we want to thank Phonetic Hero for the use of his songs for our show, Coffee Stop and Super Manly Brothers X. Both songs are part of the compilation project Chiptunes = Lin. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back next week with a normal show.